episode number 3 of What Does It Take? Basically, I'm joined today by always my co-host Georgia, but also Simon. So we're really excited to have Simon on the show. Basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Simon, but it was first place in the PCA Saxon show this year. Yep. And then you took the overall at the Scottish show as well.
Yep.
And then you went on to do the universe, right?
Yeah, who will talk about that?
It's an incredible season either way, mate. Yeah, so we're really excited to have you on. So thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Do you want to give us a bit of a background about yourself? Because you've had a pretty interesting journey, I think, anyway, because I know what you were working in before, and you've recently made a transition over to being a PT and a coach as well, which is pretty exciting. So you're really immersing yourself into the bodybuilding lifestyle, really.
Yeah, so I started in 2019. Well, that's where I met you, didn't I? What was it? UP. Yeah. And basically back then I was coached by my good friend who I now work with at the gym I PT out of. Me and him got on really well. He's a very good PT, but we went different ways just because he didn't have the bodybuilding background. And obviously this is why I'm now self-coached, because I wanted to get stuck into it, like the coaching side. So yeah, we started off in 2019, did the 2 beginner categories, the regionals and the finals, which is obviously where I met you, and then COVID. Yeah, COVID hit. So that was it. It was time off. Lost everything, gained a bit, lost it again, gained a bit more.
She's looking at me, basically, yeah, exactly the same situation.
Yeah, basically everyone. Yeah. And then I went to go compete last year. That would have been my first year as like self-coached. What did I get to? I think I was 5 weeks. Was that 5 weeks? 5 or 6 weeks out. I think I was doing an 18-week, 16-week maybe prep, and then I broke my foot.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was gutted for you when I saw that, because you were coming in real good shape as well.
I know, yeah, I was
damage it.
Better than 5 or 6 weeks out as well, which I was gutted for.
How did that happen?
It was at work. I had a steel bar roll on it.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, about 10 minutes before me end of my night shift as well. So obviously then that knackered it. Bit of time off again, lost a bit again. Very short off season. I think in the gym I was probably about 2 months. Probably about 2 months before then started like prep again for this season. And then actually managed to compete 3 times this year, finally.
What a journey. So yeah, UK Up was your first season. I didn't realise that. Okay. And that was quite a success as well, wasn't it? Didn't you win overall at that as well, if I remember right?
Yeah, I got the overall at my first show.
Which is a huge achievement in itself, because that's overall at UK Up is between everyone, isn't it? It's not just men's physique, it's against the...
Oh yeah, the year that I competed, 2019.
Yeah,
that's when you met. Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So you beat like the bodybuilders, the classic bodybuilders as well in the overall.
Yeah, I did. I honestly did not have a clue what was going on. Because I didn't. Yeah, I did not have a clue what was going on, because I went to. I only started doing it because. Like I say, I started working with my good friend who was PT, and I started looking all right. So then he was like, "Oh, why don't you just do this show?" Because his partner had done it before.
Right.
So I literally, honestly, hand on heart, did not have a clue anything about. I knew what bodybuilding. I've always followed like bodybuilding, like the mainstream guys. But the actual shows itself and British final invites, overalls, and all that. So I didn't have a clue. I went to the shop after the results. And it was my mother rang me and she was like, "You need to get back here off at overall." I was like, what on earth is an overall?
I remember being similar. I probably would have wandered off because obviously at UK Up they bring the pizza out, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was starting to get I was getting FOMO because I had to go on for the overall, but I wanted the pizza. And I was like, and Matt was like, you've done this prep, you can wait like half an hour. And I was like, I cannot wait any longer for this pizza. So I got a load of pizza and stashed it in a box and kept it like behind some stuff.
Yeah, it goes very fast as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't hang about. No.
But it was fine. I managed to actually no, I think I did eat one slice before I went on.
Yeah, you did pretty well, to be fair.
Still got the overall though, so that pizza did.
That's all that matters, isn't it?
That big carb load. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how did you get on at the finals? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I won that as well.
Did you? What fucking season?
Not the overall. I missed out on the overall at that one. But yeah, I won my category.
Very good start of the bodybuilding sort of journey then, really. Was it? Did you have any posing lessons or anything like that leading up to that?
I had how many did I have? I think about 4 hours.
Okay.
Do you know that Joshua Tees?
No, I don't. No.
He competed. He come third at the universe in the pro show.
Oh yes, I do know him now. Yeah.
Yeah. He used to live in York. And he went to the same gym as me, so I met him literally just through that. I never knew him, even though he went to same gym as me. So yeah, he did. I'm sure it's only 4 hours worth.
Okay.
My posing at UKUP was very questionable, but I somehow winged it.
Yeah, scrape through. Okay, cool. Okay, so basically we like to dive into like absolutely everything going into this sort of podcast. So in terms of the training, so obviously I remember in the lockdowns you were training out of like a shed, wasn't you?
Yeah.
And I remember like you did a little video looking at all like the spiders in the top.
Oh, it was absolutely horrendous.
It was really dark and dingy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't even stand up straight in it. So everything I had to do, I was like hunched. Yeah, it was a bad time.
Bob's got a lot to answer for, isn't he? The shit he put us through.
So what kind of setup did you have in lockdown? Because I remember everyone obviously panic bought everything. You just kind of stopped training.
I did, mate. I was shit. I was really bad.
We had like an upstairs, very small spare bedroom, which was because we had the hottest summer ever that we couldn't actually enjoy. And I remember our house just turned into a greenhouse, and I had these at-home weights, and I was buying extra weights, and I was buying bands, whatever I could. And Matt was like, "Do what you want, because I won't be using it." So I had this proper setup, and it didn't touch it, but it was what you could get. So did you actually have like a half decent setup to keep you going, or was it just makeshift with bands?
I did. The first one I sort of saw, not that well, I didn't see it coming, but obviously it was something was going to happen. So I ended up getting some, I think I had about 50 kilos worth off Facebook, which I got for nothing because this was pre-closure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first summer, I think I did it probably 2 weeks. And I was like, you, Matt, it was way too hot, weren't it? And when you're at home and on furlough, it was I was lifting actual coronas. That was about it.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. It's very hard for me.
That was for the first one.
I remember I used to I had to have a routine. So I would I'd do like my work or whatever. And I was like, I'd have a pre-workout. I had to put it in like whatever kind of cocktail glass we had. I'd make a thing out of it, find a playlist, put it on upstairs, and I'd have to have a plan. And I was like, I have to be, because otherwise I am genetically a bigger person if I was to let loose, and I couldn't afford to do that. So I had to just keep working in the greenhouse with my music on full blast.
You did well.
And and then just pray that they opened soon, and they didn't.
Honestly, it's like hats off to Pete, especially that first one. That first one was ridiculous. How people did manage to keep going is beyond me, because say I couldn't do it. Like I say, it was just like being on holiday in your back garden, wasn't it? That's the only way I can really describe it, because it was so hot.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. But to be fair, out of the first lockdown is when we started our online coaching business. So I thought to myself, I've got to sort my physique out, and at the same time maybe help some other people, and it kind of just snowballed from there. But that's one of the topics I wanted to talk to you about, because as I said, like you've made that transition fairly recently, wasn't it? So I think that's quite interesting for a lot of people that want to do the same, follow their passion and get into this. So how did you manage to do it?
well, I've always been in and out of the gym for like over 10 years, but taking it seriously is, well, probably still even after probably 2020, 2021, when it's been like, you know, like everything like we do now. But I never went through that route at school, through your personal training and college, all that kind of stuff. So I was sick of my job, so I just signed up for a course to do, which was in Leeds. So it's only about half an hour from us. Got my qualification and literally just went from there, because I already had the background knowledge of, I know how to diet, I know how to gain weight, proper weight, not fat. So yeah, like I say, I already had the background knowledge, and to be fair, then I don't know, have you two got your qualifications for?
Yeah, so I'm quite lucky in the fact that I did mine when I was like 20. So I've been a PT on and off for years and years. And weirdly, I actually tried to get into online coaching before it was like a thing. But I didn't really know what I was doing. And back then, I think I was just trying to charge people. I think it was like something ridiculous, like 25 quid for an online training and diet plan. But yeah, so I kind of already had that background. So in the first lockdown, I was like, it makes sense. George is really into it as well. But you wanted to get more, didn't you? Before you started.
So yeah, because it'd be interesting to know, like, how did you just quit your job and end it? Because I was a vet nurse before, and that's what I did for years. And Matt's the PT side of things, and I was just like, okay, so because he loves it, like I like training myself, but I like the food side of things. So I was like, while I'm, I was literally working nights because of COVID. We got split into 2 shifts, so I was just always nights. So I was like, in my days, I saved up some money, and I was like, right, I'm going to do my nutrition qualification. Like, saved up however much it is, like $4,000. I then was like, I'm going to do nutrition. He does training, so then we work together and do it that way. And I was like, I want to make sure that we can build clients up before we leave, and then it got enough that I could leave, and then it was a case of building it up so you could leave, and then it's just been like pushing ever since. So like, is it something that you left to then do it?
It's like a scary step, isn't it? Because I was in a sales job that I fucking hated.
You were so depressed.
Hated. I wanted to leave for ages. Eventually got the balls to do it. So yeah, what about you? How did you?
That's literally what I did. I stayed in the job I didn't like for probably eight years, too much. And yeah, like I say, it's fucking scary, man. I was shitting myself, but I thought, if I don't do it now, then when are you ever going to do it? So that's why I wanted to compete early on this year as well. Hopefully, obviously, I have done all right, and then it brings obviously more eyes to you as a business. But yeah, I just went for it and literally up for the best.
It is one of those steps, though, because we were very much realistic with like, well, we need to be at I need to keep my job for as long as we can because of bills, and we need to make sure we can still cover everything. But then at the same point, like, when do you, like, you were just so depressed, like, when do you go to a point of just being, do you know what? It's like I say to some of the girls sometimes, like, if you're not happy, which is such a silly saying, but if you're not happy, move. You're not a tree. Like, you're not stuck where you are. Like, move. It is those scary steps. It's a bit like if you decide to compete, it is the scary unknown. But what's better than, you get some people that say, I could win that, I could do that, and it's just like, but you're not, because you're so worried about doing it. Like, I'd rather do it and come dead last and be like, well, at least I did it. Then
that's it. I honestly, I live by saying, I've said it on some Instagram posts, is about backing up your bullshit. Like, and I think it's since, like I say, just delving into the unknown with making a jump into a completely new job, self-employed, and luckily I've obviously still got a house, so it's pulled off. But don't just say it, like,
and don't be scared to work for it either.
Yeah, you've got to put in the work. It's, say, late nights, early mornings. It's so cliche, but if you've just got to do it, if you've got something on your mind, and just do it, or you never know, will you?
Yeah, 100%. And it's definitely worth, like, anyone think about it, in my opinion anyway, it's definitely worth taking that leap of faith and going for it, because if you're really passionate about bodybuilding, I don't know about you, Simon, but I don't think there's any other job apart from being a full-time, you know, being paid to be a competitive athlete, that works complementing your competitive journey, because you're in a gym, you're around the gym, you're always talking about it and learning and improving your knowledge, and you can fit the gym and your training around it so easily. I don't think there's anything else that's more suited to it.
I think that's sorry,
no, yeah, I was agreeing. I was saying there isn't anything else, I don't think, that you can get involved with it with, really, like you say, unless you're getting sponsored or you're getting paid, but what's the percentage of that?
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very slim. So
like, I think it's like the basis of life, isn't it? If you're not happy with something and you want to do something else, it's always better to just, you know, make a plan about it, but just go ahead and do it, whether it's bodybuilding or whether it's, you know, just don't stay in a job and then complain and be upset. And, you know, make that step to do something else, because, you know,
there is so many jobs, like at the minute, especially like with how the world is, and that I think that also made me just take the jump, because you can literally get a job anywhere. So the way I was looking, I was like, what did I have? I downloaded that like Amazon Flex delivery app thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but obviously I didn't do it, but I'm sure you just click on it and it's sort of like Deliveroo for parcels. So that was just literally there, and, you know, in the background, in case obviously it all went tits up. But yeah, thankfully I never had to do it.
I think that's the thing, is like knowing there's other jobs, because you've done like multiple jobs before. Like you would get up, do Sainsbury's, literally come back to sleep, and then go to do Hermes all day, and then literally go to sleep. And I've done like 2 jobs in a day before. It's like, if you know, try and do something, like even now, if we've ever gone, do you know what, worst comes to worst, if anything was to happen, we could fall back on like a cleaning job or like Matt competing in the gym, and it's knowing, but then you never want it to come to that. It's knowing you've got the options at least.
There's always a way, basically, is what we're saying.
As long as as long as you're open, isn't it? It's full of pride.
That's it. But yeah, so it's awesome. So you've sort of like immersed yourself in it now, and I really wanted to dive into your prep this year. So obviously, like you touched upon earlier, you're self-coached. So how did you find out? Because everyone that's competed knows how much it can be such a head fuck, can't it? Prepping yourself, or even if you're not prepping yourself, you've got a coach. Sometimes you think, you know, I'm not ready, I'll still look fat, or I need to be bigger. So how did you cope with that mentally going through your prep?
I spoke to a lot. Well, I even spoke to you. I think I spoke to you the day before the first one, didn't I? Because I was a bit. But I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I'm mentally strong, as in, like, I'm also quite harsh on myself, but it's because I look at myself as if I'm coaching myself, if that makes sense. So like, as if I was, you know, coaching someone else, I'm like very critique about how I look, and after every single gym session I'd take like 20 photos and look at them, and I was just constantly setting them up side by side with that from so many weeks out, that to that many. And as long as you can see progression, then you're sort of all right, I think.
Okay, so you sort of treated yourself like one of your own clients, basically.
Okay,
that's good. So you've got to be quite, like you said, mentally strong, and also be able to see yourself, like, is it objectively, is that the right word? And not as, so our dog's trying to climb on. Objectively, so not having, like, making decisions based on emotions, which I think is massive. Like, you have got to be quite mentally strong to do that, because it's so easy. Like, some people, for example, if they've had a really, really hard few days, we all have them on prep, they would easily, like, mentally trick themselves into thinking, you know, I need a refeed. Whereas sometimes if it was a coach, they'd be like, no, you just need to push, because these are the days that matter the most. So it's things like that can be a big effect as well, I think.
It is, especially like I say, it's everything went on the first one. Obviously, everything went smoothly for my prep, and then I think it was literally the Monday. I think it was, or the Tuesday, the day after. I competed on the Sunday. I was really ill. Whether that be because my immune system was obviously shot, or but yeah, I just had like sickness bug, and then that went into, and then I think I was 3 weeks out from there until the Scottish. Obviously did well at that, and then I was ill again, and I think that second time of being ill, then when I was obviously I had to take, I think I had like 4 or 5 days off, but when because I knew I was doing the universe, the second I felt half all right, I was straight back into the gym as if prep would just continued.
Yeah.
And that's when I think my like decline started, because I was basically ill twice and I hadn't rest like at all. And that was where I think I don't want to say my head went, but I started trying to push and push and push and just completely ran myself into the ground. You know, for that last one, that's the biggest mistake I think I made personally this year. Was just I think I just pushed too long, when realistically I probably needed about 8 days complete rest, and I'd have probably been fresh as out.
Okay, so that's interesting then. So like the way I just explained it, then people would sometimes tell themselves to step off the gas, you know, give themselves a refeed or whatever, but you were the opposite. You were telling yourself to go harder, even though, so if you had a coach, they would probably say, you know, you need to and you were just basically too harsh on yourself. So that is interesting, but it's a good point to bring up, to be fair, because sometimes the body can get fucked, and some people respond to that well physically, some people don't. So, you know, from a coaching perspective, it is about learning the client and know when to push and when to back off. But so what was the time frame there then? So from the first show, which if you don't mind me saying, I think that was your best look.
I've said to you before, 100% it was my best look.
Yeah. So from then, how long was it until Universe? What was the time frame?
I think it was 8. First one, then Scotland was 3, then another 4. I think it was about 7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, so that's a fair amount of time.
Last. Yeah, but the thing is, I never even knew about the universe on the first one, so I'd only planned to do the Saxon. Which was in March, and then I'd said to myself I was going to compete later on in the year.
Yeah.
So I was just going to dip my toes in water, sort of thing. And then, they handed me British finals invite and Universe one.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? And then that's why, obviously, I looked into the universe from there and thought, well, might be a bit too good to miss, really.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why I then did Scotland. It was more, the Scotland one was to trial a couple of different things, and bit of posing practice, because my posing was a bit off on the first one.
Yeah, I remember messaging you because you hit a couple of Ryan Terry poses, didn't you?
Yeah.
I quite liked it. I thought it looked quite good.
Yeah, I think I was crunching too much. I think I was really trying to tense my head off just a bit too much.
Trying to get those Ryan Terry abs.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into that then. So what did you do, apart from posing, different between the Saxon and the Scottish then? Because I think, your looks were slightly different. Did you come in a little bit bigger at the Scottish?
No, I come in flatter, because when I got beaten the overall on the first one, and the guy Timothy, he looked unreal, but his waist is just so small.
Wicked taper he had, didn't it? That was a junior, wasn't it?
Yeah. I just couldn't compete with his waist, but I was so full at Saxon, so I thought I'll try coming a little bit flatter, just to see obviously how my body reacts, and if I can tweak that with the posing and bring my own waist in slightly. And my posing was so much better, but looking flat just really didn't suit me. compared to, I don't think, obviously I didn't look bad, but compared to the first one, I think for my physique, I just need to be absolutely beaming full.
Yeah, you had a lot of pop. I remember you coming out, I was like, fucking hell, yeah, he's won that. You look really good at that one. So, okay, so that's interesting. But this goes to show, but you can't control who turns up, because even though your look was better at the first one, you won the overall at the second one. Yeah.
I, like you say, I was definitely, hands down, that was my best look, the first one. But the thing is with bodybuilding, like you've just said, depends who turns up.
Yeah. I was very unlucky this year. I was against a mass monster 3 weeks in a row.
Won't leave you alone, would he?
I met him at the first show. I was like, what shows you doing, mate? He was like, yeah, this one, then FitX next week, PCA. Bastard. But yeah, just luck of the draw, really, isn't it? So, yeah, interesting. So, what's the plan then going forward? So, you said originally you were thinking about going later in the year. Is that still the plan, or?
No, I'm not going to, because I prepped for, what did I do, I think I did 22 weeks all in all. I think if it'd have, I don't know, it's a tough one. I think because I've done all right, I know what needs to be done. I know what process I need going, obviously, like I say, from the first one, that's what I need my prep to be like. So I think I'm just going to have an off season for probably 7 or 8 months, I'd have said, and then jump back in. I'll probably do like an 18-week prep, just a bit slower this time.
Okay, yeah. 18-week prep. And then, so you're going to think about basically, so that'll all work out to be early next year then? Yeah,
well, it'll be, because I'm so indecisive with like picking shows and stuff, because I sound ridiculous here, by the way. I weren't going to go till about June, July, maybe next year. So I was going to try take a full year off.
Yeah.
But because I'm not happy with how the universe went, I want to redeem myself for that.
Nice.
So my plan is to do wherever the show is, like obviously the regional, the qualifier, a week or two before next year, do that, touch wood, qualify for it, and then come in fresh for the universe and see if I can better 4th place.
Wicked, mate. And then peak it, so you bring your best look for the universe.
Yeah. That's my plan.
That'd be wicked, because I did see on your Instagram a few days ago, you were dabbling in the idea of classic.
Yeah, well, I'm heavy.
See, I find that absolutely mental. So basically, you're too big for classic. So men's physique's bigger than classic now sometimes.
But the things, I don't know, because I don't feel like I look it, and my legs are quite good, so I think I just carry a lot in my leg.
The same.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I don't like. I don't feel like you should cover your legs, but obviously you've got to be realistic. I love men's physique, but if you're bodybuilding, I think you should be able to show it all. Obviously, you aren't going to do open. They're obviously freaks, aren't they? Genetic freaks to do it, but the next one will be classic. But yeah, I'm sure I'm allowed to be in 2 bros. I think I'm allowed to be 190 pounds.
Right.
I was going to say, we've kind of had that discussion before. So where you're saying, like, you don't hide your legs, in the sense
of a lot of hair.
Did you look at me then?
In the sense of, because obviously, and where you say, you got to pick your criteria, because Matt would love to do classic.
Yeah, well,
you fit a criteria. So yes, do it if it's fun, but also you fit men's physique.
Because you've got no legs.
One day he might have legs. He's been trying for 31 years and they might come. But that's the thing, if you've got the legs, it's working out like, what one then suits you better. There's having fun, isn't there? And I guess it's a bit like me to a certain extent. With some federations, I could be, toned figure, or I could be athletic bikini, and I know what I want to be. So it's like, what do you fit? But then also, then try and fit it more. So
yeah, it'll come a point where like there's the balance, because eventually I would like to get to the point where I could do classic, but would I progress more by staying in men's physique? Like, what am I better suited to? So what do you think about yourself? Do you think you could do both, or?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I was backstage on the Scottish one, and I was with 4 of the different bodybuilders who'd won their class, and they was asking how much I weighed, and they'd mentioned about like having big calves, and I should be doing classic. They should be doing. And I was like, it's all well and good saying that, but I don't want to turn up to do classic and come 6.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Too much goes into this to say, my mindset. Without being arrogant, you want to win every show. Of course you do. Whereas I think, say, some federations, obviously, they aren't weight capped. So I could go and do classic, but I don't just want to turn up just to say I've done classic.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I don't think PCA has a weight cap for classic.
No, they don't.
But the tricky thing with them is they don't let you do more than one category. So you'd have to commit to that. And then, like you said, if you come 6th and then you sit in the audience and watch men's physique and know you would have dominated,
you're
picking yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It all depends which route you want to go down as well. PCA, obviously, that they don't have weight cap. I don't think that NFM UK do either.
No, I don't think they do, actually. No.
I guess whatever you decide, though, would it affect your training to a certain degree? Because, if you stay in physique, you haven't got to factor your legs so much unless you enjoy them. But if you choose classic, you then have to think about your legs as such.
Well, I've literally just done that. So I've done, probably about a week and a half ago, I've done like my off-season training plan for myself, and I'd programmed legs in twice a week. And then I thought I actually need to check, because I'd like to go down the IFBB route if I was to do it. So I thought, I'll check my weight category, and that's when I saw 190 pounds. And I think the other day I was already 36 pound over it, and I've not even started eating. So I took one of them leg days out.
That is madness. There's such a big difference as well, like between if you're 1 inch taller, I think you can have like something like 10 pounds more muscle.
7 pounds.
7 pounds, yeah. Which is
7 pounds when you're absolutely peeled is a lot, isn't it? It's
just loads. Yeah, I looked at mine. I think I can be 94 kilos on stage. I don't know what that is in pounds, but 94 kilos is pretty good. But are you 5'10"?
No, 5'8".
5'8", okay.
Yeah, I'm very, very slightly under 5'9" as well, which is annoying, or I'd have had obviously an extra 7 pounds.
Yeah, so that's a really, really tough decision. So no bodybuilder wants to train and know that they have to downsize to compete again. So
no chance.
It's a tough decision. Georgia had something very similar, actually.
Yeah, even in the bikini world.
Bikini world, she's been told in the amateur divisions that she's too big for bikini. But if you look at IFBB Pro bikini athletes, they're
I've seen you post about that before. Yeah, it's because they want the progression, but then it's like, well, if you've got it, then you should walk into it.
Yeah, no, they said, and it's been a few girls like it, to be fair, but I think they're bringing in other judges and stuff now that aren't just the same panel of judges before. But I do think I know there's athletic bikini in other federations and things like that now. So I fit a certain criteria, but I train for a look I like, and I like the pro, which works quite well for the fact of competing, but I like the way the pros look abroad, and I like the delts, I like the glutes, so I train because I like that look, and it just works well to then want to compete. But it might be the case we just might need to go abroad, because I don't want, I'm not going to just suddenly get jacked, but I don't my plan isn't to just get jacked, it's just to have more muscle there. So
it's a tough one, because to be a pro, you should have a pro level physique, but they don't reward pro level physiques. It's very, very strange at the moment. So we're potentially going to have to go abroad.
Which I'll happily say I don't feel I've got a pro level physique right now, but it puts me off when I get feedback to say I'm too muscular, when I know I'm not pro worthy yet. But I want to keep progressing, and so I know I need more muscle and I need to create that shape. So it is a little bit off-putting when people are like, you're getting too big, and I'm like, I'm really not.
Well, that's it. So it's like, what do? Do you then downside in the amateurs to then have to gain it all back, or
They sod them and get massive.
That's it. Woman's physique.
Come back like a tank.
Yeah.
Showing my legs over mats.
This bloody podcast is a leg bashing session. Cool, man. Well, yeah, it's definitely interesting to hear about your season. So I will ask about how the listeners like to delve into that, and that's PEDS as well. You said you're quite comfortable to talk about it, which is really, really cool. So what did you do in the lead up to the show? Was you off before and then just went on for your prep, or?
Yeah, I was off completely. I can't remember the exact dates. And then, just started with the basic test. And Anthet, started there. What come next? Test. Then added Tren and Mast. About 6 weeks out from the first show was then Winstrel, and I think I started Clennet about 10 weeks out, and that was my cycle. Yeah.
Was that all sort of self-coached then? So you learned about those compounds, introduced them, or did someone recommend them? Or?
No, so that's going back to again last year. So I'd sort of like already trialed this, like I said, before I bust my foot. I think the big thing to some people, like I say, I'm you know me, I'm still obviously learning. The big thing I took about it being self-coached was reading stuff, watching stuff, and then just stopping and doing it yourself. So, and like it sounds bad, but I like guinea pigged myself with each compound and added them in slowly, up to my dosages slowly. And it was like, if I was getting sides off certain ones, then I'd drop it. This was all last year. And then I sort of picked my peak cycle from there, already knowing, my limits.
Yeah, so you sort of learn what works best for you, and then so you knew straight away what to implement.
Yeah.
Did you get any sides from anything last year then?
The only side I started to get was on test only. I started to get gyno sides. By that it was like itchy nipple. I had the tiniest of lumps. So then all I did was drop it. So I've dropped it. So I don't like to say dosages, but my dosage of test was, I'm at the peak now is 140 milligram. That's that's as high as my test goes, where you'll know that's very
basically TRT dose.
Yeah, because I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to spend thousands of pounds on getting my nipples cut open, basically.
That is a very fair point. Yeah, so okay, so it's interesting. And so you lowered it down. Did you chuck in an AI or anything like that?
No, I've never used one. Literally, like I say, I've just took it up as soon as I started feeling sides, or I think I only got up to about 350, I want to say. So, which is still obviously quite low compared to what some people take.
Yeah.
So from there, I just dropped it back down, and 140 is my peak.
Wow. Okay, so you'd let the other compounds be the main driving force for the hypertrophy then. Which okay, so that's definitely interesting. I think that's a very good point that you brought up as well. The fact that you sort of use yourself, you use yourself as a guinea pig, but everyone has I've said it on the last podcast, an intergenetic response to anything, any drug that you take. So it is like, you can read all you want on the internet and you can get a guideline figure of, look at studies and how the average person responds, but you're not going to know until you try it yourself.
Yeah.
And then starting at a low dose, slowly titrating up, seeing how you respond, take out this, maybe up that if you're responding well, and then going from there. So the Masteron will definitely help you with any sort of aromatization or gyno issues. Anyway.
Yeah, that's why I picked that one as well. So I studied them and obviously found out which each one did. And I took my peak? I think my master on was only 300 300. That was it. That was my peak first show. And my trend, that was 250. So it's not.
No, yeah, that's quite a small size. Georgia's looking at me because she has no clue about it.
Basically, I don't abuse them.
Yes. Yeah,
well, I can normally tell Matt's face normally says it if it's like a high dose or yeah. I've seen his face when some people have said dosages to him. So dosages.
Yeah. No, that's it's very sensible dosing. And look at the sort of physique you achieve with that. I know people that do absolutely abuse them, blast amounts, and they look like shit. So it goes to prove it's not just about the drugs, it's about the work that you put in, which I do want to touch upon next, really. And that's, because I know you were going quite hard on the cardio aspect. You were feeling fucked some days and you're still getting the work done on the Stairmaster, which is awesome. So where did you finish in terms of, like, by the end of your prep, what were you on for your cardio and what was your calories at?
What, by the end, like my last show? End? Oh man, I think I panicked and I was probably about 1400 to try, very, right at the end, to try and just get the last bit off. Cardio was still, I was doing an hour, either treadmill, stepper, or I think I was just, towards the end, I was just doing a mixture because I was sort of fucked. And then, but I was still doing like an hour and a half, 2 hours walk. So yeah, you could say I was doing about 3 hours of cardio. I was, like I said, you know what I was doing. I just ran myself completely into the ground. But I was on for the first show. I was an hour cardio, an hour walk, and I don't think my calories got any lower than, I think there was about 1750.
Okay. Yeah.
For the first one.
Yeah. So again, that's just interesting, isn't it? So like, the more stress your body was under, even though it was your best look at the start, but you are in a better position in terms of your calories are higher, expenditure was a little bit lower. So it's just the stress that your body was under. You had to fight off the illnesses, and you were just a bit battered by the end. Then.
Yeah. Well, I'd for all the last week, before the universe, you'd have probably seen on my stories, I was sat in sauna with my bloody top on. One day I had my jumper on to try and flush everything out. I wasn't losing weight. It's like scale weight. And sure, you could see I was so soft and I was just polished. It was, I don't know how on earth the water stayed in my body, but it did. It just wouldn't leave. So that, like you say, it's stress. It's
stress, high cortisol. It's mental, isn't it? How much that can really affect her physique. Again, relating it back to Georgia, her first show.
I've had it all, clearly.
She last year, you did an Instagram post.
Only a couple of days ago.
In the morning of the show, she was looking good. Like, I'm very honest coach with Georgia. I will say she wasn't in condition for the show, but she was looking okay in the morning.
Yeah.
And then because of the stress throughout the day, it really affected your physique, didn't it?
I got really bad anxiety and I just look so swollen. Like I had some definition in my legs. Like I would have been okay on stage, but we knew I had quite a few shows and we could pull it off. But when I look back, look at those show photos, the only time I use them is in a comparison to be like, this is where we started and this is what happens when stress kicks in, because I was just so nervous. I had anxiety. I built myself up into be just a very stressful mess, and I was on low food, I was on very high cardio, and I think that's where where you said about you coaching yourself and you push harder and harder, I think that's where, because we've reflected on our preps and I'm very much like you. If I was to prep myself, I would keep going and go into the ground. Both my preps I've been on 2 hours cardio, low food, 20k steps and things, and I'll I would have kept pushing if you didn't step in and say, let's just try and do something else. And you reflect on your prep, and as much as you pushed hard, you could go, do you know what, I probably towards the end could have pushed that bit harder, I could have started harder. So you still worked hard, but you were that other thing of, do you know what, I was probably a bit too soft at the beginning because you were self-coaching yourself, weren't you? So I think, like, especially as a female, I'm very, like, and other females, it's very self-critical. But I think from what I've seen with guys tend to have that, like, more critical mindset to be able to coach. Most men to coach themselves, not everyone, but yeah, I know prep brain would get to me, and I would just hammer more and more and more. And actually, after that show, we were like, let's back off.
Well, yeah, interestingly, that's exactly what we did. So your show after that was what, 5 weeks after it, 6 weeks after it, and we didn't go harder. We pulled back. We changed the cardio source, so it was low impact.
We couldn't change my food though.
We couldn't change the food, no. But yeah, we basically just we decreased the impact her body was under and the overall stress. And then the next show, she won the overall and won a pro card. So it's like, it's crazy how much stress can really make a difference.
It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing, especially, like you say, if you are self-coach as well, and the amount of stuff that's just going through your mind, and you just think, I need to do it, and you really don't. But once you've done it once, touch wood anyway, I don't think you'll do it again.
That's what I was going to say. So what's something that you think you've learned about your prep this year? Is it controlling your stress? And
so when I first started, I was like allowing myself like 2 or 3 cheat meals a week. Like, my metabolism is ridiculous. As soon as I started my prep, I think I lost about 10 kilo in, I'd say, about 6 weeks, I think. And I was on nearly 3,000 calories.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
As soon as I move, it just goes. I don't have to do a lot. Which is lucky. But you say, it's going back to what we just said, it's knowing when to just relax, and you don't have to push. It's trusting the process and that kind of stuff. That's what I've learned. Everything will just be a lot easier next year, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Do you think you'll do about the same length of time prep, or do you think you'll do it a bit shorter?
Yeah, I think I'll do about the same time. I like being on prep. Now I hate my mind's like free. I can think about whatever I want, and it's like there's nothing to think about. So I like being on prep. I don't mind dieting, like I say, because I still get 1, 2, 3 cheat meals, just normal meals a week. So yeah, I'll probably do the same length, just not ridiculous amounts of cardio come the end of it, and such low food, I'd have said.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, I think we're going to be doing, we spoke about it not long ago. We think we're going to be doing roughly the same shows next year, aren't we?
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'll be in the tall category, so I won't have to go next to him. But yeah, so that'd be really good then. So yeah, the goal is to qualify for the University of the Universe. And then we're both going to have a go at the NPC style, aren't we? 2 bros.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Which would be exciting. So yeah, that's the plan going forward, mate.
Yeah, it's good because I think we spoke about it before, haven't we? Well, every federation is just so different with what look you need, and like you said about Georgia, with your different looks, it's so different.
My season, because I did 5 shows in the end, and I did all federates. I did FitX, NFM, PCA. I did a 2-bro regional, and did Arnold. So it was like, came nowhere, won at overall.
Yeah.
Came nowhere, came 4th, and then came 2nd at Arnold. So it was just like all over the shop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough, isn't it? It is tough, but I'd be like, say, I want to be like you, where you get to experience different federations. I don't just want to stick to one. It's, say, you're not going to do it forever.
Yeah.
So stick to one, then you haven't really delved into other ones. That's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah, definitely at the start anyway, to find where you fit.
Yeah. Sure. Oh yeah. Once you say established, maybe, then you'll have to. Realistically, it's probably the IFBB route, isn't it? That's the most prestigious route. Yeah. At first, it's good to get different styles of posing as well, innit? Of different.
I think it's like the day of it as well. Like when you you know, you spend so much time for this one day, you don't want to go and just have a really shit day, basically. So like my as well as NFM being such a good day because of the comeback from it, I had so much fun at Arnold's because that was my last show, and I was probably the most carefree at that show for the fact it was my biggest show and I'd spend my whole time working on stress. But weirdly, I still love my Two Roads regional show because I came dead last. Like there was 4th out of 4. I was on another class with like, I just wasn't, they didn't even look at me when I walked on the stage. I was like, I'm just kind of doing this to say hello to Matt in the crowd and walk off again. But that was like a good turning point for me with my stress. So it's something that, yeah, that was the show that we did in the field. So like, you know, I don't know if you see yeah, so but when you think back to like what you learned from something to keep you moving forward, I think that still means a lot. So of course, like you want to be competitive and you want to win, and that's why like the other ones where I did place was so good, you know, even though with that one I came last, it was still something that meant a lot to me. And even the first FitX show when I came dead last, like that was something I learned from. So then you could just be like, okay, and how am I going to make sure I just use it to keep making yourself better, don't you? To keep being like competitive.
That's the thing, innit? You always, even if you do come last, you'll always take something from it.
Well, it'll make or break you, won't it? You can come because you were a little bit worried I might come off, and you weren't sure how I was going to be after the FitX show in case you needed to like
not talking.
And I was just like, I'm not doing this again. I was like, this is what went wrong. And I remember just giving you this massive talk of how we're going to make sure we don't do that. And you were just like, I was worried you were going to be upset. I was like, no, because this is just a lesson, isn't it? Like, I will not feel like this again.
Yeah, like you say, it's a make or break sort of thing, isn't it?
And it is subjective, like you said, you know, and who turns up, like you've seen as well with your shows, like you can't control who's going to turn up. And I think that's the biggest thing, like I learned with my shows, and you obviously learned with Brad, like you still brought your best no matter what. Obviously you want to go home with something, but you don't, the worst thing is going to be going off, only I didn't, you know, do that or fuck this up or whatever. Like you still be better every time. And that's going to be like the main thing to then make sure
leveling up season after season.
That's the main thing in it, and it's like I say, it's going back to cliches of your only competition is you, innit? It's from the years before. As long as you're looking at your stage photos the following season, you'll be like, right, that's better, then you're progressing, aren't you?
You're winning.
Yeah, I just look at my glute shots from this last year and I'm like, that isn't happening again. Not trying to do that. Damn these dunk squats.
Awesome stuff, man. Well, I think that's a good point to finish it on, really. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, mate. I always like to finish it with something. So what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone looking to get into bodybuilding for the first time?
Oh, you could have messaged me first.
He's on the spot.
You should do something random, as I find, rather than something like really motivating. You should.
Yeah.
Think for this.
I think we've got a while. He's going to be thinking for a bit. So
I'd say just. It sounds so daft, but just enjoy it. As simple as.
I think that's the biggest thing.
As simple as that is, because like when we said about jobs, if you don't enjoy doing something, then why would you do it? And it's the same, especially with bodybuilding. I know it's like a nerve-wracking thing. Obviously, you're backstage, you're pumping up, everyone's eyeballing each other like this on sly. But if you can't enjoy that, what you're on stage for 5 minutes, maybe, if you can't enjoy that after putting all the work in, then what is the point?
Yeah, that's definitely something like I pass on to like the girls. It's something that I've learned because I've let nerves ruin my day. And I'll say to the girls, you'll be doing like a 5-month prep for 5 minutes on stage for then a 3-4 month rebound. So you're going to let like 9 months of the year, and you've got this one day of like 5 minutes. Yeah. And you hate it. I watched so much RuPaul to help my confidence. And even backstage, I'd be like, even in the field show, I had my laptop, I was watching RuPaul, he'd hate it, but he would keep an eye on the shows for me. And as soon as I went to pump up, it was like I had an Arnie playlist, and Arnie was telling me like, I can do it. So I've gone for like these drag queens being superstars, and like, I can do this, I can strut on stage to them being like, I'm a lion and I can do this. And it was like those silly little things. But if you can't enjoy everything else about it, you just, don't let that, that day kind of be ruined by the fact, you know.
You don't want to look back on it and think, oh, I wish I enjoyed that a little bit
when
more.
You can tick all those other boxes and do the training, and that's when you've got to enjoy those training. You can't be doing it all in kind of the flip side. You can't all be doing it for that one day just because you like the spotlight and you like looking lean. You've got to like everything else that comes with it.
Every day as it comes, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Did you find a little random?
I was trying to look. I did would you rather questions.
Oh, go on. What's the top one? We're giving the top one.
Oh, that looks a bit boring though.
Oh, we should have planned this, shouldn't we? Definitely should have planned this.
See, I'm leveling up your podcast now, aren't
I? The jail one.
Oh, blimey, that's a bit deep, isn't it? She's got a really deep one. Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for a decade?
What?
That's nice and light, isn't it?
The one in front of it was, would you rather sing in front of strangers or sing in front of your closest friends? That's a bit soft, isn't it?
Wait, how long was it?
Simon?
How long was it? Jail for 5 or coma for 10?
Yeah.
I think you've got to go coma, haven't you?
Have you? Really?
What, would you go jail?
Yeah, well, there's gyms in jail, isn't there? You can come out jacked. Think how much muscle you'd lose in a coma.
Yeah, true.
Okay. This is a bit. Would you rather be 11 feet tall or 9 inches tall? That's controversial.
Simon is 9 inches tall.
Come on. Hey, at least I've got legs.
Yeah, fair play.
Okay.
I think 11 feet.
Yeah, I would as well.
I feel like that's a guy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Simon, it's been a pleasure talking to you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone wants to find Simon, we'll basically pop in his Instagram on there. Do you want to let them know your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's just Simon Wilson Fit.
You will see him in future if you haven't seen him already. The guy, fantastic physique, mate. And I'm looking forward to seeing how your shows go next year. And as I said, I'm glad you're in the short category.
Yeah. We'll see each other at some point, I'm sure.
See you later.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.